We get it. You're fire season.
Okay.
Like we know now that you are the Twitter account that worships a below average player.
No, I think like happy potential to be okay. You ready? Potential to be top 3 hitscan.
They should, on paper, be good.
If they lose a game, they're bad though.
Could they be above mid? Because we've established.
You make my blood boil. Like, I hope that's been fixed. I'll put it that way. God, I hope it's been fixed.
Welcome back to the 2022 Overwatch League previews, where we're rounding out our first half of North America. We talked about a bunch of teams now, heading over to the Washington Justice, where if you paid attention to the social media, you'll have seen that their team just arrived in North America. The team's all there in DC, getting ready to play. It's a new Washington, a new opportunity, a couple returning faces. Decay, Assassin, Mag return. Everybody else completely fresh. And I think a lot of upgraded positions on this team as well. Like a shitload of upgraded positions. I actually feel pretty good about Justice overall. They have Happy fresh from Houston, who had I think a pretty good season. He was one of the standout players, if not the standout player on that team.
For sure.
They bring over Kalios from New York Excelsior, where I think Kalios did a good job of kind of bolstering New York in their time of need, and New York was starting to get some good distance off of having Kalios on the team. And 2 rookies plus 1 returning player. I had to be careful there. I nearly said 3 rookies, but Krillin's actually not a rookie. He was technically on London way back when. Just didn't really get a lot of game time, if any at all. Backed by Opener and Vigilante. So a completely new support line. Probably an upgrade over Bebe Closer, but we'll get to that. We'll discuss supports when we get there. Let's start with the DPS, guys. How do you guys feel about Decay, Happy, Assassin?
Yeah. I don't think we need to say too much about Decay. I think that's pretty known quantity. Assassin. I think, for me, I think he was a good player that was like put in like really odd roles, if that makes sense. Like, it's not even roles. It's like last season did not do justice to what I think Assassin can do.
Justice?
Pretty much. Happy's quite good. I think he's a great dedicated hit scan. Will pair well. Like, either of them make great like roommates with Decay. 100%. Like that is a great duo. No matter how you want to like swap those pieces around, I like it quite a deal. Yeah.
Would you say Decay? Would you say Decay underperformed last year or anything like that? Does any part of his play last year sour his reputation or your view on Decay? What do you think? He'll just come in and just pop heads and do what he does?
I don't think he'll come in and pop heads. But I also have like tertiary reasons of why I think that is. I think they'll be okay. I think Decay, like, all things considered, should be good. And if he isn't, then that would be unfortunate, and I wouldn't. Much like it was last year. I think he should be good. Just as. Do I think that? I don't know what to think about this team, to be completely honest with you. This is a team that was woeful last year. And I kind of see similar. On. Excuse me? Would you like to defend the Justice in the 2021 season?
This man is talking about them as if they just like won their first game on the last day. Dude, what kind of like... What the fuck is up with your emotional landscape where like London is like, yeah, you know, they're mid, and you say like this team is woeful, bro? Like,
in
get your
which
adjectives
context
in
did
line.
you hear London is mid? I said their supports were mid. They were a bottom 4 team. Get the dicks out of your ears. Secondly, the Justice were a top 5 contending team, and they were like, they ended 6th, but they did not end 6th. Let's be very clear. They ended like a bottom performing team.
But their performance last year, therefore, wasn't woeful.
Yes, it was woeful. When you have arguably the best rookie signing, you have Decay. Did it look like Decay was playing in that team last year? Answer me that.
He wasn't
Come on, man,
bad,
that looked
bro.
Like Decay? Okay.
He was
I
still
think we
like
saw two different
a
teams.
statistically like top 5 performing DPS, I think, in the league.
Oh, you think? Oh, okay. Well, I don't know.
No, Decay was, dude. I swear to God, this man is like
I'd
upselling the
like to
underdog.
go.
This man is Robin Hood, bro. He's taking it from the rich and giving the clout to the poor. Like, what the fuck is up?
I'm hearing a lot of ad hominems. I'm not hearing any kind of examples. I've seen Mag on Ball. I've seen Mag on Winston. I haven't seen Mag on Ryan. I've seen Decay and Assassin try to coordinate dives because their main tanks were ass.
You did see Mag on Ryan because everyone can't shut the fuck up about when that one time he diffed Fearless.
Okay, fair. That's true. That's true. Thank you for reminding me. I'll admit that. However, this team was woeful up compared to expectations of the name recognition and this roster on paper. It was bad. Period.
I'm not sure
good.
if it was bad. And I wouldn't. It was underperforming. I agree. I don't think it was woeful.
I think they ended only slightly below expectation. If we're expecting them, I had them pretty high. I think I had them top 3 in my preseason. And what did they finish again?
They ended
7th,
the
place.
season in 6th, yeah, and 6th in NA.
Well, globally,
7th
7th, 8th.
globally.
No, 7th, 8th in global.
That's their like ladder finish, but in terms of like comparing their league standings, they were 10th.
Well, in any case, I think 6th place in NA. It's about 3 places below, I thought. So I'd say they underperformed, but I don't think they shut the bed as hard as some people make it out to be. I think they do if you thought they were the best team. If you thought they were number 1, then yeah, that's not very good.
Oh, yeah,
I did not have them number 1. I think they were top 3, maybe 3rd, based on roster quality. But even then, in hindsight, when I look at it, it's like they still had like Jerry and Tuber on their team, and it's just like, what are these guys doing? Like, what's that about?
Wrong,
Like,
yeah.
that is so much worse. That is so much worse than what they got this year.
Yeah.
Happy Decay Assassins. Decay Happy is just way better than Tuber Jerry. Just put it out there. Okay, you downgraded from Fury to Kalios. Oh well, fuck it. Close the baby. We'll have to see on that one. I mean, we're still breaking down piece by piece here, so I don't want to get. I think the support is going to be more of a juicier discussion, so I don't want to get into it too deeply. But let's just say I think they've definitely upgraded DPS, 100%.
Yes.
Real quick on Assassin, I think Assassin also probably like only rarely showed what he actually is capable of last season. And there are some rookies that just need a year to establish themselves in the league and then pop off, right? Like that's totally fair. He also looked to be like stuffing spaghetti in his pants like half the season. Like he seemed pretty susceptible to stage fright or whatever. Like if he's now capable, bro, this is a good DPS line. And Happy also probably just like by the selection of the hero pool, like what kind of like he probably also could have performed significantly better. He could have been one of the best hit scans last year. Like this kid was nuts.
I think he started the season incredibly good. I think they ended in a meta that did not favor him.
Right.
I think Assassin, like the Justice last season felt like a pressure cooker, and I would put money on that it was internally. I think Assassin was probably like leading those dives because Mag was just like absent in terms of engaging.
Sure.
Like it was torture to watch the Justice because they would never engage. And the only people who would were Decay and Assassin. Mag was just like the most passive main tank I've ever seen. Period. And that colors my like
I just don't know what happened.
I don't know either, and I don't know how they fixed it.
It's like Mag's little brother came and played on his account all of last year. Like the Mag I saw in Runaway is just so different to the Mag I saw last year. It just doesn't make any sense. So there's that. All right, are we done on DPS? Did anyone have any? I don't know. Yiska mentioned anything about the DPS yet? I think I'll just finish by saying I wasn't happy with the DPS last year.
Fair.
Not really any player, to be honest with you. Even Decay was just not. I expected Decay. Maybe my expectations are too high with Decay, but I expect him to be like that shining star on the team that pulls you out from all the bullshit. Because, bro, Prophet still did that. Fit still did that on Soul. You know, their team was shitting the bed, and these guys are still pulling their team through. I mean, fuck it. Who else? Yaki was like hard carrying Florida Mayhem, and his team was shitting the bed, right? So. I just never saw that out of Decay last year. I don't know.
Nope.
I like Decay's golden. I don't want to say he's washed, but last year was not a good representation of his potential. I don't know why his potential was so.
Can I maybe
repressed.
provide a reason as to maybe why that is? Just
is it the same reason Mag got repressed as well?
And
Fury,
no,
maybe Fury getting
maybe I don't know. I mean,
we have 3 good players: Decay, Mag, Fury, and all 3 of them just looked mid. Like, what's going on?
I think part of it is I do think that internal. I'm gonna prescribe here. I'm going to assume. Yes, I don't know. I am just gonna like call a spade a spade. I think you have a collection of good players and that kind of underperforming. That to me screams like internal turmoil. But for Decay in particular, I don't think that like NA as like a regional meta necessarily facilitated him all that well. Just him personally.
No.
I'll say that.
I think so let me put this in. If Washington played in APAC last year, they'd be a much better team, right?
I would say it would. I would be more agreeable to that. Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
They would have performed better.
All I know is that preseason scrims. Here comes the Scrim Bucks. You ready? They were doing really well in Asia playing dive, and then they came to NA and it was all Ryan and Lucio, and it was like, oh fuck. So that kind of fucked them up a little bit.
Yeah.
But then
I don't know if that speaks for Mag or Fury. I think that
they could have.
For me,
could they not have just done Glads and just went the full Briggs in ball mode? Like, I don't know. I feel like Glads pivoted and Justice just didn't. Justice
agreed.
In the playoffs just tried to force Lucio and Moira, and they were just the worst team doing it. They were just not good doing it.
Yep.
I
think it was just like a sunken cost thing, to be honest with you.
It was just
that's like a tough call.
At that point, it's just like, what is the one composition that we can mitigate damage the most in terms of like, what is the best way we can play not to lose? This Lucio Moira bullshit. Oh, just play that. We know we're not winning, but
perfect. You hit the nail on the head for me. They were playing not to lose. I felt like the entire season. That was the justice for 2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well put.
So justice for 2020. Yes, you haven't talked about the DPS in any sort of depth yet. So where do you stand on this? You mentioned some stuff about Happy.
Yeah. No, I think like Happy potential to be okay. You ready? Potential to be top 3 hitscan.
I need a soundbite on my soundboard for ooh. So 3. Behind who? Lip's got to be one of them.
Lip Kai.
Lip Kai.
I want you to know 3.
I want you to know you've put a Predator below that. And I know you're big on it. I also want you to know you put Fitz below that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Fitz below Happy. Yeah. On hitscan? On hard hitscan? Yeah, no. Yeah. On hard hitscan, yeah. Bro, you're telling me you're putting Fitz over Happy in a Widow duel? I'm not.
Okay, no, in that context, then
yes, sure. I'm more agreeable to like the Fitz thing, but I think there are other names that like you have just like left out, and I'm like I don't know about that one, Chief.
Shy.
I mean, yeah, I would say Shy. I'm deferring to a lot of what AVRL has said about MN3, about like the peaks that maybe Kilo can bring. I can't speak to the valleys, to be fair. I've only heard good things. But like I look at some of these rookies and I've seen Happy and I've seen him on teams that I won't say that have used him, I think, properly, personally. He's good. Don't get me wrong, but top 3?
My problem with Happy is that he's another one of those hit scans where his best hero is Widow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a unless you're forcing it.
That's
a dangerous identity to have as a hit scan.
I'll say because he's on Justice, just historically, you now have to say that this is not a team that brings the most out of people. I think
Yeah.
that's unfortunately true.
Unfortunately, they do the opposite. They somehow ruin players instead of bringing the potential out. It's like they push the potential down. They put a hard glass ceiling on certain players somehow. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, I think
so given that, there's no way Happy could be top 3.
no, unlikely. But on a skill by skill level basis, like I think Happy, the shit I saw last year in preseason is nuts, bro. Like,
Sure. I get it. Vacuum. I'm there with you. But sadly, not how the world works. Sadly, Happy's on justice.
we should really play out the season preseason scrim.
We'll see how the 5v5 environment goes. I'm hopeful for guys like Assassin, actually. I think Assassin has way more to show than what he's currently shown. I fully agree with Yiska in that comment a little bit earlier. I think Assassin was not given the best environment last year, to which people will say, well, isn't he in the same environment now? I'm like, maybe. I'm just carrying out some hopium that Mag will finally show his value, Assassin will finally show his value. Just all the shit I saw in Runaway, all the good shit I saw in Runaway. I just want to see. I want to see that. That's what I want to see.
Can I also bring the Mag hopium? Like, Kalios made Yakpung look competent.
Playing together.
Like,
I don't know if you've read the box that you got in the mail, Yiska, but Overwatch 2 is a 5v5 game.
Yes, I understand. But, like, I feel like this is more than just...
I got it. I know what you mean.
Like, Kalios is a leadership personality. Despite, like, his weird-as fuck past, if we're being honest. Like, I remember there was some weird sham comments coming from this dude. Like, he's a vocal leader. He probably won't bench Mag for a lot of it. I think they will cleanly split the hero pool. Kalios will be able to support there, and clearly delineate. I think this is a good pickup for a team like this. It just like needed some leadership quality, because it's like if your superstar player isn't capable of doing so, you need to have it come from somewhere.
Can I answer your question? Well, you weren't asking a question, but let me answer it anyway. Let me put a question out there to answer. Is that you're saying, oh yeah, you remember when Yakpung was bad on New York Excelsior, and then Kalios came in and he made Yakpung look good, and then Joe's like, yeah, but it's 5v5. My answer to that, Joe, is that, well, there still is a way for Kalios to do that. What he's going to do is Mag, if he underperforms, Kalios steps in place and he makes the whole team look better. So that's how he's going to do it.
I like that. But that's like the weird thing. It's just like, what intrinsically about this roster makes that like a real like scenario? Like, yes, it could be a meta thing that I 100% like agree with. But if we hold this to be true and we just move, again, hypothetically speaking, we move Kalios into the 2021 roster, like, why does that need to happen? And how is that not been, like, I hope that's been fixed. I'll put it that way. God, I hope it's been fixed. This is a frustrating team.
What's been fixed?
That, like, I feel like I'm being gaslit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I have so much like frustration with the Justice. You look at like their playoff performance. They were a worse, and it's not even like fair to say worse. Like, they were a Big Lots dollar store bin $1 movie rack version of the Dallas Fuel. They had like a good start, I think.
Yeah, that was a lot of teams. A lot of teams was the bargain bin Dallas Fuel last year.
But I'm just talking about playoffs. Like I remember specifically just calling exactly what they were gonna do because it was fucking. Had no more morale. They come in, they're like, hey, Dallas plays like Lucio Moyer Reaper. That's sick. Let's do that. They did it. They sucked. Like,
fair.
I feel wild, like, remembering this team as being bad. Like, yes, they had a good start. 100% they did. And it was nothing but ass for the rest of the season. They had to cobble together wins. 1-3 in the June Joust.
So
Summer Showdown.
Maybe it's better that we're moving to 5v5 where we can avoid that.
I hate this man that he brings this like energy to this discussion and then goes, by the way, guys, Mayhem 6 to 8 mid. Like fuck you, man. No, sorry, so it was actually Boston.
Yes.
But
I mean, yes, Boston. It's like I don't know what to do with Boston. Like I have no like strong feelings other than like I think they're eventually going Korean, right? Like Florida, I'm willing to give like credit to rookies in a system that has been proven through multiple games than the Justice who looked bad last season and like have made improvements, but not significant enough improvements for me to like quantify them as like this brand new team. I don't think they're going to be very good. Is that wild to say? I don't know. Maybe I'm the crazy one. At this point, I wonder if I am.
We will settle this when we get to the ranking later. For now, but I swear to God,
this man's chakra is all fucked up, man.
Joe's about to put Justice in 6 to 8 next to Mayhem. Anyway.
You're not wrong.
Anyway, so what are the tanks? Kalios is all good, but probably a downgrade from Fury, right?
Yeah.
You kind of have to be.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of have to be.
Unlucky.
Maybe a better player for this team.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I think he's a better fit for this team, but mechanically speaking, he is a downgrade.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
Mag should be good.
No, supports.
No, Hopium.
I don't.
Hopium.
This is where I kind of have to defer to you. Like, is Krillin good enough to like warrant Vigilante?
Oh, thank
or
God!
like to like hold space
and not another player. Did we actually have anything? I think we already kind of talked about tanks, so we went on this whole big thing about Mag already.
Whatever. Mag's gonna pop.
We've already done our Mag Kalios discussion. Kalios will carry Mag from the bench, or he'll just do it himself and get on the game. Vigilante Krillin up. Brand new line.
He's just going to tell him when to breathe in and breathe out. He's basically going to sussery him, you know?
All right. Let's be clear about one thing. Vigilante is their best pickup. He's phenomenal.
Yes.
Talent esports. Fantastic player. Watches VODs. Dynamite. Does everything well. So good. But not eligible until...
July?
Ooh.
July 1st.
That's
which
half
is
the season,
how deep
dude.
in the season?
That's
a stretch.
1/3 of the season.
Half the season.
Yeah, 1/3.
How long is it?
It's like you hit in the middle of stage 2.
Third week of mid-season madness. So third week of stage 2, yeah, is when he's available. So the first game he can play is versus Glads. Good luck. And then versus London. So that's a good game.
That's the one.
London and Titans after. So there's some.
So Washington, London. You know, that's two teams ranked 6th to 8th that they can play. You know, it's pretty even.
Mm-hmm.
Titans, another 6 to 8 matchup. Easy. So before that though, they're on Krillin opener. Now I think a lot of people are like pretty confused about opener more so than Krillin. I think Krillin did pretty good in T1. Krillin's maybe a little bit underrated because people just remember him in London. But he was part of that very successful T1 squad last year.
Okay.
That was doing quite well. Now, I'm trying to remember. The problem is he didn't play. Well, the whole team didn't play the last 2 games of the playoffs because they got COVID and they couldn't play. They had to forfeit. So I'm like having a lot of trouble remembering specifically Krillin's play. M3 and Zest are easy to remember from that team, and I feel like they did the most. But it's too hard to like specifically remember Krillin's POV. During that time.
There's a lot going on, for sure.
But I think I attribute everyone's success on that T1 squad to be pretty or as equal as I'm allowed to, because I think they all contributed that. And T1 had a huge turnaround in contenders when they were one of the worst teams, certainly one of the worst academy teams, and then they turned around that reputation real quick and had a phenomenal back-to-back season. So I'll give Krillin a pass on that. Probably would be playing a Vigilante over Krillin if you can help it, but I'll give Krillin a pass on that. I'm willing to say that he's a reasonable pickup, and people judging him off London is not a fair judgment.
It's not fair. Yeah.
Open is an interesting one because he was on like the Genji Academy teams, and I know what you're thinking. Genji is an academy team, but Genji also has their own academy teams. And it's just so hard to look at his history because he's never had too many examples of game time versus exceptionally good teams and players outside of season 1 last year, where he was a sub. He was one of 4 supports on Genji with Itzel and Stalker and a whole bunch of other players that you'd rather forget. And that Genji squad locked him down 0-4, did nothing, completely shat the bed. And then they failed to qualify into contenders the next season. So opener went to, well, if you can't play in Korea, and I don't know if he tried to play in China, but the only other region you can play in after that that's not called NA for Koreans is, I guess, Australia. He got an offer from Ground Zero, played. I'm pretty sure he won. We just check that again. But again, when you win Australia and you dominate Australia, no, he didn't actually win. My bad. When you, even if you do well in Australia, the problem ends up being like the same thing I talked about with Adam. It's just like, oh, cool, he's good, but I don't know what this means compared to anybody else, because you don't have a gauntlet, you don't have a showdown where, you know, you see this team from Australia up against another team in contenders. I can only look at them in a vacuum, and that's just not good enough. Like, I can't use that for anything. So his team came as second in contenders after Direwolves. So I don't know. They didn't even win Australia. To be fair, Direwolves was pretty decent in their own right. And he's playing on ping. I don't know. I'm adding some excuses. It's just a big unknown factor. People keep asking me. People come to me all the time. It's like, oh, what do you think of Open? What do you think of Open? I'm just like, I don't know what to think, because I just didn't get to see him play against enough good teams and good players.
Right. It's fair.
Yeah, that's a big question for sure.
Is it wrong to like say that this is probably like their weakest lineup? Like Vigilante is good, 100%, but like while Krillin played on T1 and we're not sure what to do with opener, like I like Kalios. I think Mag has like all the potential in the world. I like this DPS lineup in vacuums. Like, is it wrong to say that like support's kind of like their weakest link?
And they have to use opener because Vigilante's not available.
Yep.
And they have to use both of them.
Yep.
Up until Vigilante's available.
I think like the way this season is ramping up for them, right? Okay, fair enough. You're getting glads in the first game. You can feel them. But then after that, you have... Just listen to the next games, okay? London, Titans. Okay, then Shock. Paris, Mayhem, Titans, London again. You might just give the boys some confidence.
They really got the bag in terms of matchups in there.
The schedule.
Yeah.
Strength of schedule, where it's just like, hey, strength of schedule for NA is you will play every single team in NA twice.
Does that not mean like they're going to be like? Yeah, I mean, yes. I'm like 90% sure that's correct.
Yeah.
And then for Justice, you can have all your easy games just all together in one stage.
Does that not mean like they're going to have like a really stacked like stage of death?
So basically, like the way I read it is like their second stage is manageable. Like they so basically, okay, stage 2 for where Vigilante is coming in after the third game is NYXL, Houston, and Toronto. No pushovers there. No. And then into Gloods, and then London to Titans. But their third stage looks very doable. They go Shock, fair enough, not easy. But then Paris, Mayhem, Titans, London, and then into Houston. I think a 4-2 is locked in there. If you catch some confidence based on those games, you're probably looking at a 5-1. You get a good tournament going. I'm huffing hopium. They go maybe a little bit further, and then you have a Dallas, Shock, NYXL, ATL, Boston Gladiators stage 4.
And by the way, is the stage that just precedes the playoffs.
Yeah.
The good news is there's no tournament phase for that stage. You just go straight to
Yep.
playoff/play-ins.
That's a tough one.
So the other good news is they can crash and burn in stage 4, but if their first 3 stages are good, they'll have enough points
Shouldn't
to make
matter.
playoffs anyway.
Yep.
So that's what they got to bank on. Actually, they have such an insane strength of schedule. I would rather have a very hard stage 4 that doesn't have a tournament, fuck it,
Mm-hmm.
and then have a very easy stage 2 because the stage 2 gets you to an international tournament.
Correct.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And their stage 2 is so winnable. So winnable.
Certainly should be.
So if Washington don't make Mid-Season Madness International,
Is that a failure?
be disappointing when their strength of schedule is so damn good for it.
Mhm.
What's the tournament qualification like? 8. Yeah, you got to just be top 8.
Come on. Yeah.
Washington just got to be top 8.
Yeah.
To make that. Come on, bro. With their strength of schedule in mid-season, like, come on, bro.
Yeah,
You can't be below top 8. Fuck me. Are we ready to do rankings then?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Oh, man.
Strap yourself in.
Come on.
Do you want me to
say
just
it.
do you want me to just say a
I'll go.
number?
I'll go. Oh, I mean, if you have a number,
I just have a number.
okay.
I think they make top 8, but I think they're 8th.
That's within my range. I think that's probably where I'd settle on the most likely. Yeah.
They squeeze in
Like-
number 8, but they will go to mid-season madness. But they squeeze in number 8.
Fair.
Let me.
I'm of the opinion, right? I like the discussion we had of some previous like individuals about how like, oh, if you're aiming to like peak and win the league, like these are the moves that you make. And to me, the Justice can peak high, but like Jesus Christ, does like something have to change from last season? And maybe it has. Maybe Kalios can be that like engage heavy tank that like these people need to kind of rally around. Maybe that's the case. That could definitely be, that could bring Happy online. That could bring Decay online.
I know what
100%.
changed. They got rid of Hawkery and they got Ty Dollar. There you go.
I mean, I'm not ruling that into consideration. Like if the coaching staff is what needed to be changed, great, cool. Let's change that. But like you cannot round up with the same culture or the same like style or whatever you want to talk system that you did last season. It was bad. I don't care what Yiska says. That said, I have them from like 5 to 9
Are they going to lose to London?
in that window.
They're finishing below London, right, Joe?
They certainly they fucking better. They certainly like you don't have a team this stacked. And I do think like that in certain positions, like you Decay, Happy, Assassin, that's a good DPS lineup. The tanks are nuts. I'm a little bit out to pasture when it comes to the supports, but I thought the same thing last year, right? Like they should be a good team, but I need to see some significant improvements across the board before I can make that designation. Because last year, I'm sorry, they were a bad team.
They were 6th. Shut up, dude. That's not bad. Like this man will deep throat
What do I need
Paris,
to pay you?
and then
What do I need to pay you to go back and watch those games and just like enjoy existence?
Yeah, but 6th is still like
They finished
half.
6th.
that's top
Yes.
half.
They started with a 4-0 stage. Fantastic.
I wish he would just crush bad teams with that same energy for once in his life.
I would love to. I would savor nothing more if anybody had the expectations that Justice had.
You know, Decay actually like fucking atrocious player. Now Rolf.
When have I ever outside of a meme? You're nuts. You are crazy. What did you have them in your power rankings?
Yeah, okay, that's part of
NNA?
the problem.
Alrighty then. Thank
It was
you,
top
sir.
3.
I'll take my money.
It was
top
top
3. And they were 6th in A, 10th in the league.
Top 3 in A, I think.
Sure, whatever. Double E is worse.
Right.
And I like does not
So-
like
They're going to finish
Never
7.
You're 7.
7. which
Okay, so one
and this
above me.
evaluation will hold until we do the power rankings episode, where I actually have to evaluate every position, and then we'll come to believe that they are actually third once again.
You're wild.
You're like, bro, I think we're gonna get another Zarya meta, and the Decay is gonna get on that, and then Janu from the Void is just gonna hook a player out of Overwatch 2 and just into the Shadow Realm, and if Justice can beat Houston again like they did last year, then they could be 7th in my opinion, or maybe beat a New York that hasn't figured it out.
Yeah,
a New York that
That's
suffers
what I'm
too
betting
bad
on.
meta.
This is where I'm betting on, where I'm like going.
Because-
Like there are a couple of edge case teams where I'm like, one of them might fuck up, and then Justice right there,
I'm curious,
pouncing at Joe.
how do you rate Houston's performance last year as a team?
Oh,
Good,
What's your stance on Houston?
good,
yes.
good
Almost equally.
because they finished top 5. That is how
Yes.
language
Yes.
is used. I hate this man.
Because
Wait,
Washington
wait,
didn't-
wait, hold the phone. I
Uh-huh.
was
What?
supplied some information.
Okay.
Please put your eyes onto what Eric just posted in the Discord. Am I correct in believing these are the power ranking positions of last year?
Yes. In no, like,
You need to explain it for the viewers because they can't see.
Explain yourself,
Oh.
Joe.
you are. Yes,
Explain to the
I'm
viewers.
fully. I'm trying to. There's full, like, yes, I agree. Like, I thought the same way you did last season and was woefully under, like, appreciated.
So
They sucked.
for the audio
Explain it for the
viewers,
listeners then.
yes,
Yeah, there we go.
like Avril and I had Justice in top 3, which of course now in hindsight looks stupid. It doesn't look as dumb as Katie and Joe
One position.
going
Sick.
second. And now this
Awesome.
man like has the audacity to go like, oh yeah, my own assumption was woeful. 6th place, woeful. DK, woeful. But you know that London backline, bro. Man, like
You are Reddit take level of like trying to tie this together into some sort of like fucked up flipper baby argument that just doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. You sound dumb.
We need
One position off and you're like, oh shit, get out the bike helmet and the fucking
Well,
whisk in the glass again. Like, you're dumb. You are dumb.
I thought you said something like 7th and now are ripping me a new one for saying top 3. No, you're just as dumb as I was. You're in the same position, in the same echelon. You ranked them there. Now, I don't know if they hurt you emotionally or what the...
Yes, they did. They wasted my time.
They were woeful,
I'll
bro.
never get my time back. They were bad.
No,
I'm
they
sorry.
weren't.
They were bad.
They
Go
beat-
back and watch that season. They were bad.
So, okay,
You beat
wait, if they
Houston
were
in the
bad...
play-ins.
If they were bad...
Yeah, and I don't think Houston was very good at the very tail end. to be fair.
Please apply an adjective to the Vancouver Titans then, please.
We're extremely bad. One of the worst teams.
So we are the difference between a 6th place team in an A and a last place team in an A is extremely, and both of them are
Yes.
bad.
Yes.
I hate
You got
this
to
man.
gamble on Rhine metas. You got to gamble on Rhine metas. The second you put this kid, you put Mag on Winston, God forbid you put him on Ball, the team shits the bed immensely. So they only could play one thing the entire season. Then they stopped doing anything else but playing one thing the entire season, and then looked woefully bad. They did one thing. They were quite literally a one-trick pony team. I'm sorry. This is
I hate this man.
professional
I hate this man.
Overwatch.
Like with the same, you would then, for instance, like, okay, so were Vancouver Titans and Shock in season 2 good teams, and everyone else was trash or something?
You
how's
know that that's
language-
not a fair argument. You know that's not a fair argument.
No, like I am advocate or trying to get you to the bright side of language where a team in 6th place is not woeful. Please don't inflate language. Please trade with some care. It's fickle.
I'm sorry.
They were mid-team.
fickle.
We'll just say they were mid then. How about that?
They were mid. That's fine.
Oh.
I am fine with mid.
Just say
I don't
that
care what
Washington-
you're fine with. They were bad.
But they beat Paris
Jesus.
in the plans too.
Yeah, Paris weren't very good.
Wait,
You look at the
wait,
players
wait.
on Paris, and you look at the players on Justice. I don't think they add up.
Shut up. You just said to a 6th place team, you said bad. To a 8th or 9th place team, you said not very good. Do you understand what
For
my
the
problem is?
For the king of nuance, I feel like it's crazy that a team with Naga and Dawn are viewed a little bit differently than a team with Mag and Decay.
I think
That's nuts to me.
I think
You are
the moral of the
nuts.
story is that if you haven't seen the London preview yet, you're probably confused by all this.
Yes,
So
very
you're
much
gonna have to watch the London preview now as well.
that somehow I'm being cherry picked into talking about how decent some support line is and conflating it to how bad a team was last year.
We get it. You're fire
Okay.
season.
Okay.
Like we know now that you are the Twitter account that worships a below average player.
Yeah, that's me.
quite-
You got me.
That's quite generous, Yiska. So anything else about Washington?
Fire was
I
below
feel like-
average. I don't know, sir definition, sir
I think we've,
dictionary.
I think we've spent more time talking about last year's Washington than this year's Washington.
Right.
Yes, we have. There's one person to blame.
We got any other comments on this year's Washington instead of last year's Washington?
Yeah.
They have potential, right? I think we can all agree on that. They should, on paper, be good.
If they lose a game,
Well,
they're bad though.
Could they be above mid? Because
You
we've
make
established
my blood boil.
that 6 out of 12 was mid. By definition, that's mid. That's literally as mid as you can get
it is.
outside of being 7th.
Yeah, no, I think they will
So
be a
can they
mid team.
be again? I actually have them 8th, which is below mid. Shit, I actually have them lower than mid. Wow, that's not a good sign.
No.
I have them below Houston. Maybe I'm gonna swap them around. I should probably swap them around. Maybe I have Justice 7th then.
Houston has upset potential. I'm looking forward to when we talk about them next time. But like, I think
Oh fuck, they
Houston
don't
can
they?
do something.
Really?
Okay.
I think they can be a good
well,
team. I'm not sure if I need to.
If-
I'm bringing like a dictionary.
I mean, you
next
had to
time.
explain it to me last year. I
If
was not a
you-
believer last year. I'll take that L for sure.
If you want to hear about how Yiska thinks Houston has, what did you say again? What potential? Upset potential?
Yeah, they have big upside. They can definitely like top 4. They could.
Okay, so we'll save it for the actual show. If
Right.
you want to hear about how Yiska thinks they could be top 4,
Mhm.
you're gonna have to tune in to next week's team preview, where just like Attack on Titans, we're not gonna finish it this season. We're not. We're gonna save it for another season. So we're gonna call what the title of this episode is gonna be called NA Team Previews Final Season Part 1. And then you gotta wait for NA Previews Final Season Part 2. And then maybe we'll just save one.
Maybe
Maybe we'll
there's a
just do
movie.
5 teams
Yeah.
and not do the last team. We'll call that NA Previews Final Season Part 3.
Trust
to
us,
fuck
this
with
time it's the end.
Just
We
to
promise.
fuck with you. But you will have to come back to listen about Houston because we're done now for this week in this episode. We're done now for the Washington episode where we again probably spent 50% of it talking about Washington from last year. Thank you for 221. This will be us signing out for both Washington preview as well as the episode in general. See you guys next week.